there could be that possibility. Because you know how people's immune systems are.
It's natural selection. Truly.
Exactly. Well, let's just hope we're that small person, but who knows?
Okay, whenever you're ready.
Alright. Start in a minute.
Oh, you might want to put this on.
Is the regular on?
Alright, I gotta get the meeting ready up this thing. How do I fix this? One, 0, 5. Inventory. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to get into specifics in the next set of solution design, which is visual design and product design. We'll get to know the basics of visual design and what makes a minimum viable product. So what is visual design according to you? Like when you not write it down, you can just say like whatever like you think.
Applications.
Yeah, generally like what is visual design? You can just like say it out. You need not write it like.
The arrangements of components.
All right.
In a fashion that can be seen.
One more person, and if someone else.
What the app looks like?
Pretty much it. All right. So why do we need visual design, or why is visual design really important? In order to establish credibility, in order to communicate your brand and personality, and also to enhance your usability. So these are the three primary needs on why like the visual design of an application has to be better or good, like in order to communicate your communicate the need of your application in the right way. So we have three major portions of visual design, which are I would say the foundations of visual design. So one is information hierarchy, and the second one is colors, and the third one is grid systems. So first we'll talk about information hierarchy. So why do we need information hierarchy? So information hierarchy is used to guide the user's attention. So I want to walk through how information hierarchy makes a difference through an example. So let's see that in the coming slides. Okay. So this is a paragraph. How well you would be able to read it? If I'm giving you this paragraph.
Very bad.
And you don't know the concepts about all the Vision AI or Vision API, like how easily would you be able to scan it?
Not very easy.
Line by line.
Right. Let's refine it more. So since you say that this is bad, let's refine it more. Okay. Now that you have put in like subheadings and you have kind of like split it as blocks, so a person who wants to read about Vision AI can quickly scan it, and also like person who wants to read about AutoML Vision can scan it quickly, but still something is lacking. What is that? If someone could identify, what is missing here?
Headers or
Spacing to differentiate the group.
Okay.
To differentiate the headers,
Mhm.
I think you can make like Vision AI the font size a little bigger
Mm-hmm.
and some spacing.
All right. We'll make it even better.
That's it.
All right. Now you have put on headers, subheaders, and you have changed the font sizes for paragraphs. And now how does the information hierarchy look? Is it perfect, or
Meh.
why is that a meh?
Oh,
Of course, like you have segregated it well. You have.
She said it.
Yes.
it's not consistent.
Okay.
Like you got the first two with bigger size. One is like bold, the other one isn't. It's just not consistent. Formatting isn't consistent.
Okay. Almost there, but we would refine it even more.
Yes.
This is how you make the difference here. So you say that it's about Vision AI, and then you have a secondary text, and then like this is the primary header, and this is the tertiary header. This is the secondary header, and you have the tertiary headers, and you have the paragraph sizes and the consistent font size. And also you have split it up in an even way. For example, the importance goes to these, and then AutoML Vision and Vision API are the two subheadings of those. So you have arranged it in a very good way, where people could parse it easily. So your mind is like a parser, like how a computer parser works. So you should put it in such a way that your mind could parse it easily, as you might have seen in books. So there might be like the quotes might be highlighted in a different font, or like in a different color. Like I have seen a lot of like books where like the important like paragraphs are like, or the important like sections are differentiated with colors. So this is how you make the information parse easily. So here this is your primary header, and you have the primary text, you have the secondary header, and again the paragraph text, and then you have the tertiary headers, which are arranged in a better way for the user to read it easily. Next we'll talk about colors. So color is used to like communicate a brand or personality. For example, when you take an application, or when you even take a website, it would have a separate color tone. For example, if you go to like Domino's, blue would be very dominant. Blue and red would be very dominant because it's their brand colors. They are trying to express their brand through colors. So that's how color plays a major role. And I have a quick exercise for you. You're going to identify these colors and relate them to a brand. So can you identify these colors and relate it to brands?
Relate up to what?
So these colors relate to a specific brand or a company.
Brand. Oh,
Yeah.
okay, brand.
A
brand or a
combination
company.
of these colors, like each
Yeah.
block represents to a
Yeah.
brand.
Each set, you can see a set here, right? So each set like represents a brand.
Out of the 4 sets.
Yeah, that's right.
It's Google on the bottom right.
That's cool.
Maybe
fast.
Groupon on the top right.
Okay. Anyone else? These are pretty popular companies.
Twitter, Microsoft.
Right. Which one is Twitter?
Twitter, the bottom one.
Yeah, at the bottom.
Cool.
I feel like the top left is
Facebook.
Apple for some reason. I don't know why.
Okay.
Is that Facebook?
And this one, it's pretty common. Like you use it on a day-to-day basis. Maybe the light might
Is it Facebook?
distract it slightly.
With the green one.
Yeah.
Groupon?
That one.
Yeah.
That's what I was
it's a
thinking.
Groupon.
I think the light slightly like distracts you, but
Don't tell me that's
Okay.
Amazon.
that's it. Like pretty much you got it right.
So I got Facebook, right? Okay.
So Google was answered, Twitter was answered, Facebook was answered. Even Spotify, like if you enter Spotify, like the primary color which they would have is green. and then they would have an interface of black and gray. They would have shades of black and gray there. And if you see Google, like they express their brand through the primary colors, which is green, blue, red, and yellow. And I'm sure like everyone is aware of this. Like Mark Zuckerberg has vision impairity. Like he can see only like blues very well. So that's why like Facebook is being like Facebook uses a brand color of blue. And again, like certain colors have certain identities. For example, like red denotes danger. Something dangerous like can be like denoted with red. And for example, like green denotes productivity. If you take any spreadsheet application, be it Google Sheets or Excel, they have their icons in green. Why? Because green denotes productivity, and then like blue expresses royalty, and all those things. Violet and purple, they express some sort of gives a rich feel or a royal feel to the application. So those kind of applications who be like a shopping site or maybe like a website selling luxury items, they might use purple as their primary color. Each and every color expresses certain identity. That's the funda behind these colors being used.
Interesting.
So next we'll jump into grid systems. So why do we really need grid systems? So grid systems break up the space into regular units. You saw about information hierarchy, but also how you place the elements in an interface really matters. On how you place the important elements and how you place the non-important elements around the interface. That's why we use grid systems. And also grid system provide clarity, efficiency, and economy, and also some continuity. Like you saw in the previous example of information hierarchy, like you weren't able to parse a paragraph, but when you split it up as separate columns or using grids, like you were able to see it read it in a much more, parse it in a much more better way. So that's why you use grid systems. I would want to illustrate with this example first, and also we'll get into a real-time example on how these grid systems work. So if you see here, the primary space is given to what is Vision AI and why it is useful, and then you get the secondary information of what is AutoML and what is Vision API. This of you split up the information in your screen. So the primary text is given the important, and then you have the secondary text. You make them read the primary text, and then you make the secondary text, which is optional. But you want to express your content, and then like have the sub content of that. Let's look at a more relatable example. So now that you know about grid system and information hierarchy, can someone tell me like what is the funda behind the arrangement? Why is the video being placed here? Why is this being placed here, and why do they have the videos here? Yeah.
Doesn't the user view like the page from like left to right?
Okay.
Yeah, and it's predominantly displayed there because that's where the video's at, and then like the videos are like on the right because it's kind of like the selections.
Okay. What do you see as the primary content, and what do you see as
Primary is the video.
Okay.
It's debatable whether the title and the description is the secondary or whether or not the other videos are secondary. I would think that YouTube would probably make the other videos more of like a secondary because they want you to click. That's how they get ad clicks.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say it's video, the other videos, and then maybe I think that whole area with the video and the header, or the title and the header, is all one block.
Right. Perfect. So
Yeah.
if you see, this is the most important section of a page. And also if you give more importance to this, like how will the user like navigate to the next part of the application, or like if he completes watching a video, where is he going to go next? So that's why this is the primary content you see, and then below that they have all the related information to that. So user would come here, watch the video, read the description, and where am I going next? I'm going to watch my next video, for which I display the suggestions. So this is how information hierarchy and grid systems play a major role in designing an interface. Just a quick exercise. So this is just a rough data, like a sample data of a resume. So you're going to download it from this link, and you're going to put it into your Google Doc, and you're going to arrange it in such a way that you make it more readable. You can take 10 minutes and you can just like you just play with font sizes, you can play with colors. The data is right there. You just have to like arrange the information accordingly. You can like copy to a new Google Doc and then you can try it out. You just copy paste, you change the font size, colors, and you make it more readable, and so that like the information hierarchy is arranged well. So I'd be happy to help if any.
It's like a resume.
Yeah, it's a resume.
It's hard. I don't even know how to do mine.
But again, like use the concept which we learned in the previous sprint. Like, just imagine that you're a recruiter. You need to like see that like the information is well arranged. How would you want the resume to look like? So we'll just quickly do it for 10 minutes. It's not H, it's BLT. You can easily click on this as well. Okay, we'll take 5 more minutes. That's good. Right. Is everyone good? So do you feel you kind of like understand the importance of information hierarchy? And also like when you do such exercises, like get to know about your target users. For example, in case of your resume, think about how a manager or how a recruiter would scan your resume, and how easily can you place your elements, or how easily can you make them read. So think of these aspects. So this will like make the information, make you display the information in a better way and also easily readable. All right, we're getting into the next part, which is product design. So what is product design? So can someone define it?
Well, you kind of told me earlier.
What is that?
Product design starts from the top. Is that what you're talking about? Like you need to do the strategy. Well, that's what you do, like product designer.
Okay, how will you like put it in a sentence? Or
Product design is developing the product from start to end. It entails gathering requirements from your business stakeholders, getting an idea of what their strategy is.
Across 2 lines already.
Huh? Okay, too many? Okay, good. Next.
Product design is an act of designing a product.
Okay.
As simple as it sounds. So now what is a product?
Do you want me to expand upon what I was saying?
No, what is a product? That is product design. Now what is a product? Why do you use a product?
Product is something
offers
that
value.
makes your life easier.
Okay,
It offers the value to the end user.
cool.
Solves a problem.
Right. It's just a solution to a problem. Each product in your real life would have solved a problem for you. That's how the idea of the problem would have come. So that's what you tried to solve even in the previous exercise. Like you took out a real problem and you tried to solve it. So a product is a solution to a problem, and to be more precise, a product is a solution to a user's problem. That's why you define the users first, like even before you get into solving a problem. So users are really important on why. Like, okay, you just like define 2 users. Imagine an application which would solve a problem for a scale of users. How would you go about that? So that's why a product is a solution to a user's problem or a set of users' problem. So, and what are the typical? So when you start with a product, what are typically the problems for a new product team? Like, just imagine like you're beginning a new product, or even like for the solution challenge, like you're starting with a new problem, like what are the difficulties like you face, like initially? You're setting up a new team in Chicago which solves a problem. Like you have just even like you can take the previous example, like you're gonna do an e-commerce site with all the latest technologies, and you have your value proposition and stuff. So what are the constraints you will face, or what are the difficulties you face for the new product?
Time.
Got it?
Time.
All right.
Time is always a concern, you know, just you take too much time, the value's gone, other
Sure.
companies can develop it.
Sure.
Ideas?
Communication.
Okay.
New ideas?
Right. As you said, a lack of time, funding, and understanding of the customer. So these are the primary challenges you face when starting to design, or even like before even you start a new product, before even you start framing the process for a product. Like these are the things which you face. So how do I solve this problem? Like, okay, like I have all these constraints, but still I'm passionate about shipping my product. How do you go about it? And also, how can we mitigate these problems? Like we need to like build efficiently, we need to measure success, and need to learn about it, and also like we need to like do all these processes. We need to do all these things by keeping in the constraints of time, money, and understanding of the customers, etc. So this is the process which a software company would ideally like follow. Like they would learn about, they would like build it, they would measure it. So that's what we even like saw in the last design sprint. Like in the first slide, like this is how a software gets built. So what do we build now? Like, okay, we have all these constraints, but still we need to ship it out. We need to like measure it. Like we need to build. Like we need to give it out to the users. Where do we start? What do we start building? So the version of new product or service that allows a team to collect the maximum amount of validated learning about customers with the least effort. And you call this the minimum viable product. You identify a problem, you research about your users, and then you start doing it in such a way that even a single feature satisfies the majority of your user base. That's why you call it a minimum viable product. That's the answer. So what constitutes to a minimum viable product? So, okay, you have started a company, and you're gonna like, you've set a deadline of 1 year to kind of ship out an application. So what would it make it? What are the things which you should have, or how would you go about the process? So these are the 5 elements, like where you would start and where you would like literally like have a working product in your hand. So you start by doing wireframes, like how you did. So it's not the whole process, it's about just the important elements on how you would go about the product design process. You would just like do your research, or you would like develop personas, you would do wireframes, and then like do a landing page, and then like a demo video of your application, and a working prototype, and also a wizard of Oz. So we'll talk about all these things in detail. So ideally a wireframe, like why do we need a wireframe in the beginning, like even before we start designing an application or build an application? It's again a collective of all the concepts we have learned so far. It's like we need to test how the elements are placed. We need to know what are the elements that the app is going to contain, what information is it going to contain, and also it helps you in validating the idea a bit early with the users. Like how you did the testing session here, like you will learn a lot even from the wireframes. You can draw those insights and convert them into another iteration before even you start designing an application. Next is a landing page. Like, okay, I haven't even like shipped my product as of yet. Like, why do I need a landing page? This is to create a buzz among the users. So you put out a landing page saying that like, hey, we are coming up with the product with these features, and you put a login or a sign up button there, or like I'm willing to try the beta version. You get to know how interested are the users in your product, how much traction you're getting. So using this, like you can even like pitch to the investors saying that like we have so much of traction for the idea with our landing page, and this is the data we have collected. So this is why you just give a teaser of your application. On these are the problems which our application is going to solve, using which like you can collect data and you can even like you get to know the interest for your application. And demo video. So before even like you kind of like start working on your prototype, like or like how can you say it, like you need before even you have a working prototype, working clickable prototypes, you first, like when you pitch to the investors, like they might ask for a concept video. So you have a lot of softwares these days, like it's all about video editing, but still an important portion. When you pitch it to the users, you might not have those many designers or even like people who can prototype the application well, but you can like hire a video person where you can like communicate to him or her, like what you really want to like see in the application, and then you can show a demo video to the investors on how the product will look and what it will do, so that they get an idea of how it will work in real time, and also to gain an understanding. And next is a working prototype. So we saw about wireframing, we saw about like researching and stuff, but ideally we do all these to kind of bring the application alive into the real world. But that requires a lot of development effort, which we would be like we would not be in a stage to like kind of like hire so many engineers there and then like build out a real working model. So that's where working prototypes come in place. So there are like so many tools which you can use to actually make it look like a real world application, but just relying on those tools and designers to making it work. Next is the Wizard of Oz. So still we are in a very beginning stage where we still haven't like got our customers. We are still in the beta testing or the alpha testing stage. Without much technical involvement, how do I really test a prototype, or how do I like create a real time experience without much of a technical dependence? So you do a technique called Wizard of Oz, where I would want to illustrate this with an example of an e-commerce site. So if you take for instance Amazon, when you place an order, it automatically goes through a system, and then like the person like who's like responsible for your order, like the seller, like he gets to know that through an application. So there are like so much of technical dependencies here. But just imagine like Amazon is just starting. What would you do? Like, okay, you have listed some products in your page, you have like zero operations team, you have like zero backend softwares. Like, how do you go about it without like much technical feasibility? So imagine like I'm doing like, okay, when you place an order, an email comes to me saying that like, hey, so and so person has ordered this for so and so amount, and they have put it on cash on delivery, and then like you yourself can go and buy the product and even like deliver it to them. That's as simple as that. That's without any technical dependencies. So you just like start with the minimum viable version, and then as your business increases, you start like generating revenue, and that's how you scale the business. So these are all the essential components a product should have before even like you kind of like make it viable to the users. All right. So again, like we are going to do a quick activity. So again, like you're going to follow these like same process, but yeah, like due to time constraints, like we'll just like design an application like quickly. You're going to just select a calendar application, or like you're going to like design a calendar application, and what you're going to do is, there are like a lot of calendar applications out there in the market. You have like Google Calendar, you have like tons of calendar, like even like I hope that there is a Microsoft Calendar as well, like I'm not really sure. So like there are like tons of like calendar applications solving the same problem. Now what you're going to do, you're going to take that calendar application and you're going to design it in your own way. You're going to define a problem. You're going to say that like, hey, these like I wish like the calendar application had all these things. You're going to define a problem, and then you're going to do an MVP where you would stand out in the calendar applications market. So this is what you're going to do. For this technique, like we'll just stick with wireframes, the first step which we saw here. So this is what we're going to do. So you're going to define a problem statement, you're going to define your users, and you're going to define the features for your MVP, which is a minimum viable product, and you're gonna quickly like sketch out 3 or 4 prototypes for that. So let's get started.
How long is your thing?
45 minutes.
Okay, we gotta keep time in mind.
I mean, the presentation takes about 15 minutes, and then it's the workshop.
Okay, so how long do you need? 40
About
minutes?
at least 30, 45. You know, at least 30 minutes.
Alright, we should wrap things up like around 4:15, 4:20 the max. So you can do this part.
Alright, yeah, you can even like do like a take home exercise, maybe like,
Yeah.
yeah, this is how like you define a value proposition and then like you start designing out an MVP. So that's how like you go about it. So that's it. Hope like you have gained some knowledge on product design and stuff, but these are all just the basics, just the tip of the iceberg stuff. But you can like learn more about it, like you can go surfing like through UX and stuff, like where you can learn a lot about that. And also like I would want you to like take a look at the sprint documentation which Google has. Like if you just like take design sprint, like you would get some web pages. It's a 5-day process, so it's all about from researching until designing. So I wish like you can also like take that as well. So this is all about it. Thank you guys.
Do you want to show some of your work? Like, number your
Oh yeah,
website?
I can quickly.
So we got like a few minutes
Yeah,
you
fine.
can show, and then you can.
Yeah, of course.
Because he got some really cool stuff on his website.
So can you send out the video of this course?
Yeah, it's recording right now. We're streaming it to YouTube, so you'll be able to see it.
Thank you.
That was really good though. I learned a lot actually.
Alright.
Maybe walk us through one of your products that you did.
Okay, what do you want to see?
How about Ola Chef?
Cool. Cool. So I want to expand this. So it's basically a company which serves food from curated chefs. So they cook meals at their home and then they sell it using this platform. This is how it primarily, this is the problem that the app primarily solves. And we try to like digitize the whole process, like how we thought of solutions, like how digital applications can help us in solving this problem, and also to make the business run like more efficiently. So these were all the applications we proposed and we designed. So you would have a consumer mobile app, and you'd have a consumer web app, and you'd have a chef app, like where they could like send in the menu, which can be like viewed by the menu planning team, and you have a runner app, like where it would be again like connected to the web app, like as soon as an order is placed, the data would go to the runners app, and like, they would be assigned certain deliveries. So this is how we want to make use of the digital ecosystem to kind of make the business function better. So these are all the stakeholders like, who are like the people like who actually like use the application, like who are involved in using the application, the consumers, the runners, menu planners, chefs. So this is the web application. So this is the research sessions we have, and then we go about identifying opportunities, and then we go about investigating the current design, and then this is the revamped product, and this is the same with the mobile application, and this is the working prototype of that.
I'm gonna move the screen up just a little bit. It's gonna cut off.
Oh. Cool.
Did you test with the real users?
Yeah. It's a real-time application. Like, so when we launched the beta, like we started getting insights, and based on that, like we go and iterate.
So this is a real company now, or?
Yeah, it's a real company, but now it's being acquired by like some other like food company. It has become part of that. And the password and OTP thing which you see there, like a lot of times people complain that like we forget the passwords, or like or like we don't like to use passwords like when logging in. So you just quickly switch to OTP, and then like you get a message to your number and you can log in using that. This was done in 2015. You can imagine that at that point like there was not a lot of systems using these kind of techniques, so we try to address that.
So what would you say is one of the best piece of advice that you can give someone who's like pursuing this career or is just starting off in this career, or any piece of advice that stuck with you?
Yeah.
Like one piece of advice?
Just like get to know your users well. So even though like you see all these fancy steps, I would like compare it to the construction of a building. So you see all the fancy interiors and stuff, like that is all you get to see, but no one knows the importance of a foundation. So even if the foundation is not good, like then there is no purpose for an interior design, like if the building collapses. So I would just say like know your users well. That's why like we did a lot of like empathizing exercises, like know the users well and to test it like with the real time users. So get to know the market, like when you take a problem, it can be like even like simple stuff, like a lot of startups which are being like acquired by like Google like have like started like in a very minimal way. They would have like just shipped out an MVP, but they would have been like acquired for millions of dollars. That's because like they got the users right and they are solving a real problem, which kind of attracts big companies, and they would have they would have made just a little investment, but all they would have got out in millions. So know your users well and then go about solving a problem. So these things like visual design and stuff, like it changes over time. Like you can even like use agencies which can do that, but identifying the problem and how you go about it solving it really matters.
Last question.
Right.
For people who want to learn more,
Mhm.
any like go-to places where maybe they can pick up a course, or a go-to place that you've visited where you learn things outside of the classroom?
Sure. So my primary source has been like YouTube. Like there are a lot of designers who are sharing their thoughts, like based on their experiences and their process. Like you can just like go to YouTube and search like UX design or UX process or product design. You would end up with tons of videos. And then if you want to go into more specifics, like you can choose like online platforms like Coursera or like Udemy. Like there again, like you get to know about tools and stuff. But again, like with respect to UX design, it's not just about learning; it's about practicing it every day. You pick a problem, like even it might be like you're just like walking there. Like if you're like putting a Ventra card in a subway station, if it's not working well, take that as a problem, and go about like how would I solve it to make it better. So pick problems from real time and then like try to solve it. That's how you end up in a product. So if you first you should have the passion to do it, and then like also like practice it regularly. That's how it comes, and which are supported by all the learnings which you will have. So I would recommend this.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. All right. And next up is Manan. He's going to be doing some back-end design. So we're going to give him a few minutes to get the slides up, and then we'll get started. And if you haven't yet, please check in. There's like a link, tiny.cc/DSC check-in. And today's code is design.
Ready to begin?
Yeah, you don't have to get up. You can sit down if you want. Up to you.
No, let's start right here.
Huh? If you're gonna like, maybe if you want to be seen, stand over there. That way they see you.
Gotcha.
All right.
Alright, so in the final workshop, we'll be talking and discussing key skills around basic technical architecture. And so before we begin with that, let me introduce myself once more, I guess. So my name is Manal Patel. I'm the backend lead, and I'm currently a junior right now, majoring in computer science and minoring in data science. And here's a LinkedIn if you want to check it out. Alright, so let's begin. So when somebody says an app, first thing that comes to most people's minds are mobile phones, their laptops, computers, even their smartwatches. As programmers, what we think about is how they're written in Kotlin, Java, Swift, or maybe some cross-platform like Flutter. We also think about the HTML, CSS, JavaScript. That's only a small part of how an app works. In fact, there's so much more to an application. Other than the front end or the client, most applications have an entire back end. And even within the back end, there are other multiple parts to the back end, such as the running code, data storage, and other services. So let's take a quick look at a simple example to see how this works. Let's say we're trying to build an app, a photo sharing app. So first thing we need to do is define our front end or the client. And so for this, let's say we choose it to be a web application. Next, we need somewhere to host our back end and run our code. And for this, we'll use the Cloud Functions. Cloud Functions is a tool that lets a developer write their code and write their code or function in Python, Node, or Go, and trigger it upon HTTP requests. One really good thing about Cloud Function is that it is able to handle all of the scaling for you, making it a very good option for a beginner looking to develop a web application. The next thing we need to do is have a place to store all of the user information, such as username, email address, password, etc. And for that, we can use the Firebase Firestore. This is a NoSQL database, which also is fully managed, meaning that it handles all the scaling for you. And finally, we need a place to store all the photos, and for that, we can use the Firebase storage. The Firebase's file storage system allows us to upload the photos or store the photos onto the cloud. And there you have it. You have a pretty simple basic design for a photo sharing app. But we don't have to stop there. We can add more functionality to it. Let's say, what if you want to add a function where somebody can search through their images similar to Google Photos. And for that, we can make use of the Cloud Vision API. The Cloud Vision API uses advanced machine learning, which will let us automatically create tags, letting us search through the photos using key terms. And now let's say you're someone with a bit more experience and want to use popular web frameworks such as the Django, Express, Ruby's on Rails, or even Spring. Well, then you can use the App Engine Standard. This is a Google Cloud's platform as a service tool, which lets you upload your code and it will handle everything else for you. One unfortunate thing about this, however, is that it does not support WebSocket. But no worries about that, because Google also has an environment called the App Engine Flexible, which does support WebSocket. There are a few key differences between the flexible environment and the standard environment. One being that flexible environment is able to like handle relatively sustained levels of traffic. The standard environment, however, though, is very good at handling spikes of traffic. One other key difference is that the App Engine Standard is able to deploy your code under 60 seconds, whereas the flexible environment takes 5 to 10 minutes to deploy it. And lastly, it's a really good idea to have other clients that interact with your back end, and so the users will have access to all of their photos through all of their devices. So how can we actually do this? It is easier said than done. So how do we make all these decisions in practice? Well, we have broken it down into 3 simple steps. Step 1, make a list of all your considerations, constraints you may be facing. Step 2 is to do some research. Choose the tools that you'll be incorporating into your build that goes along with your considerations. And finally, decide how your tools will communicate with each other and design the tech. So let's take a deeper look into the steps. Step 1, make a list of all your considerations. This includes anything that has an impact on your build, however. And so it can include from how does your user interact with your application to what your technical experience is in programming or anything. Here's a sample list of considerations that might be helpful for you. They include things like what does my application require? How many people are on my team? What is our budget? What is our timeline? And so on. The next step is to do some research on tools. This is a link that you guys can access right now, and it is a link to a very popular tool called Google Cloud Developers Cheat Sheet, which describes all of Google Cloud's tools within 4 words or less. Just for this, we have created an extension to this cheat sheet to outline every single Google Developers tools, which you are free to use. Did you guys, everybody get the website, the link, or let me go back?
It's just the GitHub page, right?
Yeah, the GitHub.
Okay, yeah. I
Go
got it.
back one more time. Gotcha.
That's pretty cool.
Everybody there?
Mm-hmm.
This will come in handy in a little bit when we actually practice. So you guys might want to keep it open.
What?
Yeah.
I have access. We just
Alright.
wrote the link. Ooh, where did you find that? Which link?
You just click on it.
Everybody get there?
It's cool wallpaper.
No, I'm
You can
not
put it in the
there.
back of your
I think
computer.
I'm lost. I don't have the link.
The link is right there. See it?
Share this with the whole group.
Or do you want to like write down the board maybe?
Yes, those are things.
Sure.
View problems.
Can you see over here, or it's fine? Or you want me to write down there?
Is that page?
Where? This?
No, LOI?
Yeah, bit.ly/google-cloud-4-words. Right. And the last step is to actually create your design. And for this, what you want to do is take out a sheet of paper and divide it up like so. And so basically what you want to do is for each part of the grid, you want to write down the tool and what purpose they will serve in your application or your product.
So we're coming up with like a fake product.
Yeah, so basically let's practice it. So we have 3 example ideas over there, or if you have your own idea, you can choose to work on that as well. If you want to work in groups, you can also work as a group. And let's say take a few minutes, like 20-30 minutes, and we'll get back together and present.
Okay. Okay, so you want to work as a group?
Sure.
Easier? Okay. So for data storage, I believe we can use Firebase.
I feel like for
What's our-
Oh, our product?
Yeah.
food delivery.
Food delivery.
I like that.
Yeah, everybody likes food.
So I feel like
So we can use Firebase or Firestore, Cloud Firestore for a database.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
copy.
you have
Oh, it's words. WORDS.
For the front end,
Maybe you might have to put on.
I mean, we can
I'm
use.
working on that.
Just copy and paste it on top
Yeah.
on your website.
Do we need a map we can use the Google Map API for the front end.
But for data,
Back end.
it all depends on how we are doing it, right? Like, do we want to capture the logs? That's cool. Like, when the user entered, were there any failures? Were any missed orders? So like, there's gonna be section just for logs. Then there's gonna be section for management to look
When you
at,
say
like,
logs, what do you mean?
logs meaning. So this is a database, right?
So you log errors on the site?
Yeah, like user tried to log in but failed, authentication failed. So those are
I believe
different-
Firestore keeps all that for you automatically. It's a third party service. Like they actually handle authentication. So you can do like what is it? Firebase, right? Authentication, yeah.
Yeah, Firebase authentication. Yep.
Mhm.
Okay.
They can authenticate the user. They handle the sign in, the log out, the password, retrievals, everything.
Okay. Okay, so
So I would
maybe
say we use that for that, and then for database we can use Firestore. It's NoSQL.
NoSQL?
Mm-hmm. Instead of SQL.
Okay,
NoSQL.
okay, okay.
You guys have any?
Okay, so database is taken care of. What do you guys think about the front end?
Front end, we talked about using the map API, right?
For front end, isn't it more like on the
Angular,
web, on the app?
like the framework we're using.
Right.
We can do Angular, or Vue, or.
Well, the front end tool is just deciding what your client is. So is it a website or
Oh, okay.
client,
Oh,
or are
that's
they gonna be
okay.
and like Android, like a mobile phones, like a smartphone
like
application.
computer page
Yeah,
or an
you can
app?
go with the smartphone.
Let's
Like
do app.
smartwatch, because they have this
Oh.
Let's see how
When you say front end client, are you meaning like what
Like-
tools and services we're gonna use for that, or are you
basically
talking the device?
Device, yeah, basically.
Okay, like a smartphone.
Yeah, it's an app.
No, I don't find that.
Okay.
Can you get the link?
No.
And then for running code, what do you mean by running code?
Then you type it
Like,
here?
What are we doing for that one?
Like the server that you'll put it on to run.
Oh, we can do
code.
the compute engine, spin up the
Yeah.
virtual server with Google Cloud. There's the app engine, the compute engine for virtual machines.
So we can just have,
Let's just
we
do
can
it.
have instances and we can use Kubernetes. We can have two engines. So engine one, instance one and instance two. And we can have Kubernetes engine to load balance it. So if one server fails, it's automatically gonna throw the rest of the load on the next one. So instance one and instance two. This is what I was doing at work today. My boss is like, come here, let me show you what Kubernetes engine is. I was like, hell yeah.
Perfect.
Thank you.
I was flexing some knowledge from my GCP class.
Perfect. Okay, so other services, we wanted to use the Google Cloud API for the maps.
Yeah, maps. But what would maps go under? Other
Yeah, we
services?
have to.
It would be under services, under services.
Like,
Other
yeah, I
services.
think running code has something to do with like.
How do you link
like
Google
something
Maps
like-
with your order and your address?
Like
So
always
let's
run,
just say
for
I
example,
ordered
run
food
like a Java
from the
code,
consumer
kind of
app,
that.
and I, as a consumer, have my address on there, like, hey, deliver this thing over here. How does that address from my data go to
These
Google
storage,
Maps?
like,
How does that transfer to Google
It's
Maps?
just on the longitude and the
Database
latitude.
where, like,
and
you
plots
kind
on
of
the
like
map.
store the data for.
Really?
Mhm.
Like you place it
Yeah,
somewhere.
and they also have like when you type in your address, it probably like translates it into longitude
Honestly,
and
like,
latitude.
this is literally the first time I'm like.
So it's an
running
accuracy.
code in the storage.
Like if you go to
All you did.
Google right
all
now
the
and you
stuff
say,
was,
"Where am I?"
run, actually just run like an environment ID.
Where am I
So
now?
it's kind of like first.
You have to have your location.
Yep.
Say it's asking me for my
Yeah, sure.
location, so I have to select yes.
I don't know. So I think the safe bet is use.
Very interesting.
Yeah, your wish.
Yeah, this is
I'm
the
seriously not aware
so
of
if you want to, you could click
No,
on
no,
it.
it's not.
I'm honestly not an expert in this too. Just like back in like first experience.
Yeah, there's probably like a way to zoom out for it. Let's see.
Okay. So
Yeah,
other-
well anyways, it goes by longitude, GPS coordinates.
how about customer service? So this is maps. What do you guys think about customer service? So let's just say my order was messed up. and if I would like to call someone, and if I were to get screened according to my need, meaning press 1 for
You've already downloaded
order
it. You know
issues,
what
press 2 for
e-commerce
previous
is?
order
I don't know.
issues, press 3
E-commerce
for
is shopping.
whatever. You see the concept?
Oh, shopping.
Is there something on the cloud
Okay.
I don't
that
think
would
so.
take you
I don't think so.
customer service? No?
Mm-mm.
Or direct your calls from a website to, I mean, it's gonna be another
How
service.
about we use another service like the chat box, like using natural language processing, where
Yeah.
basically you say, where's my order, and then it just returns it based on what it is, and it's smart enough to like.
What is it called?
It's like a chat bot, like one of those bots.
The technical term?
Chat bot, like a bot.
No,
BOT.
you said natural.
Language processing.
You probably like download it and then it will open up like a big screen.
So that basically you don't have to have like customer service real people, it's just a robot, it just gives you all the information you need because you programmed it to respond to your questions. So you can say like, what is my order coming, and it pulls
Just
the order
pick an idea.
time from the
There's three
database or
example
wherever the
ideas right there:
status is, and it
e-commerce,
just
food
gives you the
delivery.
status.
How do you add
productivity
new products?
and basically create a design like that, like
Put
the
it
example I showed
into
you.
the
So
fire.
first you wanna
You have
decide
to go
on
through the
storage
database,
how
space,
the
right?
client you want.
And that's where
you
you
want
put
it to
your
be for a
pictures.
smartphone.
Yeah, but it's usually
desktop
encrypted,
computers.
like it's
You know, and for your
base
smartwatch. That's the first thing you want to decide.
64 or something like that.
And then you want to see
It's like a
where
very
you
long
want
link
your
to do it,
what
and it's
server
like
you want to
so
run.
long.
There's
Yeah, it's just
cloud
like a
functions,
string,
and
right,
then
like
there's
that.
vendors. There's a few more.
What about-
It's crazy how like it turns it into like a
Yeah,
picture,
that's
it's like
one of the
amazing.
things.
I had to do it
And
for
it's
class,
basically
it's
select
like
which
this
tools
big.
you want to put
And like literally
on
somehow,
your product.
that's a
Turns it into
picture.
a So what type of
That's a
tools you
picture.
want to have
I
included
was
in
just
your
like blown
product?
away. And like this can't be
It's
a
the
picture.
entire list of all
So
the
I copied
tools.
the whole
You
link,
can
it's
choose
not a
from
link
there, any
anymore.
other tools you've used in the past.
That picture.
It's just a picture,
It's
it's like
like
base,
the
compilation of.
I think it's base
For
64.
your idea.
You have to convert it. Yeah,
That's
base
pretty cool.
64 image.
Are you guys going? Well,
How can we use
we're trying to
APIs in
think
our?
like what stuff can we use for running
Yeah,
products
it's
or
base
whatever.
64 image
But
encoder.
our problem is
So like
we
you
don't
literally
know
can
most
put a
of these
picture in
things.
here,
So what I'm doing is like thinking like which one would sound
and now
right.
this is the code.
So we're gonna like use cloud identity over proxy because I think
That's
has
it.
to do with like passwords.
Look at this
Damn.
thing. So this is the
for-
picture.
I'm sorry. Is this yours?
That's not. Oh, okay. Okay, so what are you trying to do? So
That's a picture.
Like, I'm trying to
Oh,
find something to do
wow.
with passwords, like saving them and
One thing you can look at is Firebase
That's-
has
Stop.
That's
Firebase
this picture
authenticity
right here,
that
encoded
handles
into
all
base
of
64. It's just
like
a
logging
string, it
in,
saves
creating
the database.
passwords.
And then when you
can
decode
sign
it,
up. You
it
know, like
turns
a
it
lot
back
of
into
people
that.
sign up with their Gmail.
Now
or
I just blew my
that
own
all
mind
like
by thinking
that all gets
that you
handled
can
by
actually
the
turn that
Firebase
code into
authenticity.
binary as well.
So if you wanna make use of
Probably,
that,
I mean, that's,
it handles
everything
all
is
the
like
passwords
bits,
of
right?
everything.
But look at that, that's just a picture.
Authenticity.
oh yeah, then
All right.
it's
Yeah, that one.
What about
That one.
APIs?
that makes sense.
What about them?
What kind of APIs can we use on our
Yeah,
app?
it makes sense.
For
Okay,
what,
you
for
guys
what?
got it.
Like, depending on what you wanna do.
So, do we use an API for
Everything
maps?
is connected with an API, yeah.
That we have to use
That's
an
like
API
an
for a
interface
map.
for everything. Like even to connect to a database, you have to like hit an endpoint.
Okay.
APIs is just like it's just like an interface. So you
A
don't see,
waiter.
it encapsulates everything, so you don't see the details. You just want to know, okay, get name.
What's the weather?
So you just go get name, and that's like you know how to, you know,
Makes sense.
you don't need to know all the implementation. You just want to get the name. So they create like the things like the
Add locations to like
the API, so
where
you can just access the service.
maybe add like.
That's how like computers like talk to each other. You can like have like
No, because like.
a service here. It's like a microservice, and let's say this microservice is just gonna go ahead and retrieve the user account. One service. Single responsibility is just to get the user account. Then you have another one is just to retrieve products. The product lookup.
Okay.
And then these are connected.
No,
I like
These are all other
APIs.
services.
yeah, these are services.
So this is the API, and
Yep.
then you can connect with your computers here. So everything communicates through an API. So we want to use the Cloud Vision API that like Google offers. we can like implement that in our app, and what that would be like, okay, so it'd be like a function. You hit the endpoint with like the parameters. Let's say you're looking for, you submitted an image of like get long, whatever, base64 or whatever,
Yeah.
and you send it to them, and then somehow their service will take in that input of whatever that string is, and then it's going to do its algorithm here, and then it's going to spit back and say that's an apple, based off of like its algorithm and everything. But you're using like their API in order to get that back. And that's how that you just basically implement the services. So for our thing, like what would we, there's the map API, which we could plot like the delivery guy on the map. I think would be useful.
Yeah.
I think it'd be useful to
Show the timer of, like, you know how Domino's has like, oh, your pizza is half cooked. What's another now?
yeah, it'd be like the delivery time.
Delivery
Right.
time, or
We'd have to create like a service, like I would think, to like you'd have to
Measure
create the
the-
logic to deliver. What else could we use? Let's see.
What about reward system?
We can do machine learning. We can use the AI
For what?
to do like product recommendations.
Yeah.
Smart product recommendation. You bought this. We think you would like that. They use it all the time.
Yep.
We could use it to like feature like marketing and advertising too.
Which platform should I use?
What else?
What about a survey?
There's time zone, convert coordinates to time zone.
This is just a list of all the
That might be
tools
useful.
you use
Because
to
like
build
I'm
your,
not aware
So
of
we know where you're at.
Did you design an
We might be able to
Just
give you
trying
the
to
coordinates,
get that.
longitude,
It could be anything like
latitude, and then we connect it to this
basically anything you
I
want
just
to
want
do.
to
time
see like
zone
what is it
API.
Basically what you did like
And it's like
And like let's say we use that for our delivery cutoff time. So we want to
Sunglasses.
know what time is our delivery, but we need to know the time zone,
so
right?
they're doing food
So like
delivery.
basically
These
put it
guys
into
are
this
doing
API and they give us
e-commerce, so
back
it
the
could be
time zone.
anything.
So if we put in this longitude and latitude
There's
as
also a
CT,
productivity app you can
and the time
try
zone
to work
API
with.
will give us back central
So
time.
that
So
basically
based off the central time, we could then maybe create a function
how much is time spent
to
time
like
on your
return like maybe
activities
the
or-
customer service
Could
number.
be any idea
We
you
can
want.
also do
Or if you
Or
have
like
any goals that
information
you've
related
been
to that
working on.
region.
Mhm.
So we might be able to use that one.
Or maybe we can use that in the front end where we can show sun and if they open the app in the morning, and
Yeah.
we can show like the dark feature at night. according
There
to
might be
the
a
So,
a
so now
time
you have an
one.
idea, right? So you have an
Um,
app
Is it
to
on the
focus the
Google Cloud
weather.
cheat sheet?
So
Yeah, all
what
of this.
tools will you be using
What are
to
you
make it
using?
work? So like
I
what
can
tools
find it.
will have, what
Oh,
are the
what?
tools that
Economics and data.
you've used to
That's
build
nice.
the application?
I'm taking data visualization now.
So you need
Oh, yeah,
a place to
yeah.
run your
Which with
code
who?
and your
Rob?
back end.
Eli
so you
Ron?
probably
We're
want
in
to
the same
use
class.
Oh,
like
nice.
Yeah.
Maybe
How'd you do on your
cloud
midterm?
functions or app engine standards.
It's fine.
It was a great class.
He
For your
so he
running
first
code.
entered my grade and
I know, it was like mine
point
was like
eight.
point,
And I
yeah.
was like,
I'm like, I only got
Yeah,
less
so
than one
similar to that.
per each
Yeah.
point, like.
I was like, I for sure at
You
least
could
got
pretty
one
much use any
because
of
my
the,
grade was
uh,
0.8 out of
so
100.
this is
Yeah.
I was like, I know I got at
two,
least one question
and
right.
there's
a
This is
description
not
of
right.
what the-
Yeah, I was like, this can't be
This cannot
right.
be right. So they emailed
So you
him
can
and I asked him
choose
if
your
it was a
tool based
typo.
on that.
And I'm like,
If you
why
want
should
more
we go with that?
information, you could like
No, it's your
Google it
grade.
under
But no, it wasn't.
under
I
filing
changed
system.
it.
Yeah, cause I got it,
Like,
cause he said we
full
could, we gave you
description
like
of how it's
100%,
used
like
and
whatever.
What's it used for?
My class
If you want more
is
information.
very cool.
Yeah.
You're not in class though, you're online, right?
No, I'm in Carnegie.
Why haven't I seen you? Have I seen you?
I just, I mean, I go, but not.
Tools is like right there.
Okay.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I'm always asking questions.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, so
He loves me.
on the left is the name
So
of the
annoying.
tool, and the right side is the description.
It's a little disorganized.
Got it. And disorganized.
It's like not even disorganized, it's extremely
Yeah,
disorganized.
it is.
There's so many. I don't know the most of them.
It's almost over for
Yeah,
me.
if you take a
so
look
like
at the
every week's
Firebase,
like-
it's really
Nice.
interesting.
Yeah, you masters or undergrad?
Oh, undergrad.
Undergrad. Yeah, it's a hybrid
I know
class.
it is.
Yeah.
I remember him
So
saying
difficult,
that.
but
I don't know how that's even like.
A thing.
There's so many.
He's
useful
like,
tools
all my
right now.
undergrads did so
Yeah.
great
If
last
I was, like,
quarter.
just storing
And I'm like, okay.
Well, it's just like a bunch of products. It depends on what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
If we're storing the data.
Because I know everybody's
there's
struggling with
Firebase
like the
Firestore.
like the
That's
homeworks
the
and stuff.
database.
The
I
questions are
know.
not
And there's
clear,
also the
like-
I also started homework with the
Firebase
data
storage
boards,
system.
too.
Oh, okay.
Because
That's
I'm
just
that type of
storing on the
person,
cloud.
and so
So
I
you're like, what the
can't
hell?
ask a question, obviously email them. I'm I'm like,
But yeah.
Maybe he'll give you leniency because you're a
I don't wanna go
Someone said.
There's like so many
I
different
wish I
tools.
got
You
that
don't have to
on
use
the
all of them, but there's like so many
Yeah.
different tools.
I don't even know
And
how
you could
I
also
got
like
an A on
upload
midterm,
your like
but
You got it?
if it's on the Firebase,
I thought I got an F
you
on
can
it.
keep an
I
eye
got
on
a
like
B.
crash analytics or like
I mean, did he
how
curve
your
it, right?
performance
Yeah, he
and
curved
everything.
it.
Okay.
Basically
Sure
statistics on
curves
how your
it.
app is performing.
Alright.
Yeah.
So
That
there's
looks
like a
like
lot
I
of
mean, it's not supposed to be a
good
hard
things with
class.
No,
Firebase.
it's not. I thought it would be
Data
so
visualization.
Yeah, it's supposed to be. For me, it
Are you
seems
guys
like it's just an art
done?
class compared to all the other
So
classes.
What do you guys need to do?
I just tell them
Well, we use Tableau and R, and we just have to create visualizations in
Yeah.
those.
I'm
We're
putting a
doing a
one
group
view.
project
I'm
now.
just putting
And so
random
each person
stuff.
has to do code
Hoping
visualizations.
that
You guys just want to present there? I think they're done too, so just present them, I guess.
Alright,
Okay.
Mr. Wallace,
Cool. Take it away.
Mr. Kush?
the
me?
software engineer.
No.
Alright, here we go.
Wait, what do we do for front end? Oh, okay, so we have created a revolutionary.
The stage is there, sir.
Oh, I can do it
It's
here.
all yours.
We have created a revolutionary food delivery service called Green Food. And we're going to be using our front end, our client really is going to be a smart phone app. So it's going to be a cellular device. For our running code, push, you can just put instance 1 and 2. You had done this today at work. Do you mind sharing us all in what instance 1 and 2 mean?
Sure, Mr. Wells. So, for the running code, we are gonna run to virtual machines, and there's gonna be 2 instances, and we're gonna use Kubernetes to make sure that our uptime is 99.999, which is a really good standard. So what's going to happen is if our instance 1 goes down, the second instance would automatically be pulled up by Kubernetes, and there's going to be load balancing done on there, and yeah.
So we're going to be using the powers of the Google Cloud Platform to basically spin up these virtual machines, and like Kush said, handle the load balancing. So if there is like, a bottleneck on one of the nodes, we can easily, transfer the traffic to another node. So that will keep our customers very happy because, we lose a lot of money if we, go down, so we're not able to shop. So time means money. Any time of disruption is bad for our business. So that's how we're going to do our running code. As far as APIs are concerned, there are so many that we can use, but off the top of our head, we think that the Google Maps would be a great API to utilize, as it allows us to give our users a visualization of where the delivery drivers are at, and also be able to give them some type of visualization as to how far away they are using the Google API map. We also talked about implementing a chat bot that allows our customers to chat with us. These are not like real humans, so it also saves our company a lot of money because we don't have to employ real people. And it gives them the critical information that they need. For example, if they're saying, where's my order? The machine can shoot them something. If it says, like, what's your hours of operation? We could have that already programmed using the API, and then the API will use natural language processing to go ahead and process the request and spit out and return an answer. For data, we've decided to use Firestore to store. That's a NoSQL database. And then for user authentication, we talked about Firebase authentication. It'll handle all of the login, logouts, errors, password, resets. We can also implement the ability for the system to send back like an email as well. And then, yeah, there are so many other things that we would have explored, but we ran out of time.
Yep.
All
That
right.
sounds really solid.
Wonderful.
All right, do you guys want to present your idea?
Sure.
All right, let's hear it.
Keep this in mind. We're kind of inexperienced, sort of.
We are
So,
very inexperienced in terms of development.
yeah.
Our teams.
We're
Yeah.
very experienced.
All right. Thank you.
We're
So-
DSC.
Sweet. So, what we have so far is an AP, a app for.
What's your idea first?
Oh, the idea is like an
E-com, okay.
e-commerce app. It will be called the e-center, and
Alright.
for front end it would be like laptops, smartphones, and desktops, because like you can learn. It's kind of like you can like shop anywhere more easily.
Mm-hmm.
So for running code, we kind of stay safe and use Cloud Run, because
Alright.
it's kind of like what we know. And then for APIs, we use geolocation API. So like we can track where we can deliver the orders to customers. Of course.
Alright.
And then a data storage would be a cloud data store, so we can store like the actual orders, and like we can actually see them.
Okay.
And then the last thing we use is Firebase authentication for same similar reason, to like save passwords and all stuff.
Okay.
And this is kind of it for now.
Alright. So will people be making accounts on there? Like, will there be users, or
Yes.
so maybe have like a SQL, like use a SQL to store all the user information, like a database to store all the user information there, passwords. So that's one thing you can implement onto your data storage.
Yeah, sure. We can implement like an SQL or something like
Yeah.
that. So.
But yeah, other than that, it sounds pretty solid.
Alright.
It sounds pretty good.
All right. Thanks. Thank you.
Alright, so that's about it.
All right. Great job. Well, thank you guys so much for coming out to our solution design workshop. Really appreciate it. So thank you to Manan, thank you Shri for doing such a fantastic job today. We really learned a lot, and I know this took a lot of preparation, so thank you guys for that. I felt like this was a really good one, actually. Like,
Yeah, we learned.
We actually learned a lot, yep. And then I just want to let you know, I just got this email from Google. They're coming on campus, I believe, is it next week or the week following? Oh, this week. They're going to be here Thursday and Friday. Actually, I can get the information. I'll send it out to email, so if you guys are, you a DSC member, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and you're a DSC member too, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay, great.
It's my
So,
first day.
yes, welcome. So we're going to send out the email next week, so stop by. I know there's going to be 2 Google engineers. One's like a senior engineer. He's going to be coming, and then the other one's an engineer as well. They work out of like the Chicago office, so it'd be really cool. If you guys are interested in helping out, let me know, because they're actually looking for maybe some volunteers. But they're going to be doing a bunch of stuff. Cloud Hero, which is cloud training, using hands-on lab to gain skills through interactive learning in a fun and educational environment. Really bringing developers together to compete against one another in gamified labs by using their cloud skills. So they're going to be doing that, and they're also going to be talking about like imposter syndrome. Like that's one of the real things that like in the industry that people face. You know, you feel like you're not good enough. You feel like you're not smart enough. You know, you start getting scared on the job. So they're going to teach you how to like deal with that. Also, bring your resume. I can tell you like they kind of use that for like recruiting purposes. So bring a resume, but they're also going to have like a workshop on how to polish your resume as well. Just off the top of my head, I know they're doing that cloud talk, and then there's something for like freshmen and sophomores on Friday. You guys are not like freshmen or sophomores. Or you're a sophomore.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so you might want to talk to them, because that'd be a good opportunity, because I know that if you're early on in the program, they like to get you to like intern over there, so it'd be good to like start making some contacts.
Cool.
So that's next Thursday and Friday. Next month, we're going to have another cloud study jam. Radar is going to be facilitating that one, so he's going to get me the topics, so stay tuned to the emails. LinkedIn is coming to Depaul University as well. They're going to be doing a workshop on basically how to better represent yourself on LinkedIn and like spicing up your profile for employers. And then they're also going to do a workshop on like LinkedIn Learning, kind of teach you like what's out there, because we actually, every DePaul student has access to LinkedIn Learning for free. So they're basically going to give you a walkthrough. Actually been on LinkedIn Learning, and they have some amazing programs, so or videos to watch, so it's really useful.
It's free for us, right?
Yep, and it's outside of the classroom, additional learning. I think I found one on how to like build APIs and like, so it's like really good stuff outside of classroom. It doesn't cost you $3,800, you know. So take advantage of that, and then we'll be in touch. And then you guys aren't competing in like the solution challenge, right? Are you?
Yeah, we're actually in the same team. Yeah.
You're in the same team.
Yeah.
How's that going? You guys almost done, or?
We're still working on trying to get it done.
Okay, like try to like submit something.
Okay.
You know, because that's just, you guys have been working on something, you know, and
Yeah.
don't make it like crazy big. We've got like maybe 2 more weeks to work on this.
Okay.
But the winner, they're going to be flying them out to Sunnyvale, California. I think they're picking 10 teams. So this is like a global competition, though. There's like 800 universities around the world competing for this prize. So
Is it the hash code?
no, this is not hash code. This is the solution challenge, where basically we have formed early on. You may have missed it. We formed teams. So there's like 6 teams right now, and they're working on building software that solves a problem in the community. So they're working on their software right now, and they're going to be submitting it to Google before March. What day did I say it was? Was it 20th?
I think 20 some. It's 28th or something.
Yeah, 28th. So let's shoot around March 15th, 16th, and then what I want to do is I want to host like a showcase for you guys to showcase your app. So we'll like get CDM involved. We'll like maybe do a feature on it to show it off, whatever you guys build. So we have 6 teams. So yeah, looking forward to that. And then gonna try to see if we can do a Google site visit. I think that would be awesome to like maybe do a Chicago Google site visit. So I'll be talking to the people at Google to see if we can do that. If you guys have any other like ideas as to what you want to see at DSC, let our vice president know, and then we'll like make it happen for you guys, you know. Or if you want to like learn something that we haven't covered, or you find something out there that you want to learn more about, let us know, and we'll try to put something together. Also, if you're interested in facilitating one of these discussions and you're interested in getting out of your comfort zone and maybe giving teaching a shot, I'm telling you, it's like a really good experience. What do you think? It was good?
Yeah.
Did it get you out of your comfort zone, give you like
Definitely
something
did, yeah.
new?
Definitely.
So now that if someone approaches you and say, hey, can you teach something? You're not like nervous
Yep.
wreck. Yeah. So, I mean, Shree's like an expert at this. Like, come on.
Don't make me blush.
Yeah. Oh, no. Yeah. So, yeah, if you're interested in teaching, get outside of your comfort zone. That's what DSC is all about, empowering each other. So, with that said, if you guys have no questions, thank you guys for coming.
Alright.
Take the pizza, take the pop, and we'll see
Alright.
you next time. We're not. Thank you.
Can you send it to me?
Yeah, absolutely.